The type of man a woman fears losing the most is the one who is deeply in control of himself, his emotions, his reactions, and his sense of purpose. He isn't cold, but he is composed. He isn't distant, but he isn't dependent. He knows how to care without clinging, how to love without losing himself, and how to give without expecting anything in return. This man does not chase validation because his sense of worth comes from within. And that alone changes everything. Because when you no longer react out of fear, insecurity, or emotional chaos, you become someone who cannot be manipulated, shaken, or thrown off balance by temporary emotions, yours or anyone else's. Women may enjoy attention, they may appreciate affection, but what they respect is a man who remains grounded no matter what storm hits his life. While others crumble, he stands upright. While others beg for reassurance, he relies on his discipline and inner stability. He's not loud about it. He doesn't brag. It's simply how he moves through the world, with quiet confidence that doesn't need permission to exist. And that kind of energy is rare. That kind of presence is unforgettable. It makes a woman realize that losing him isn't just losing a relationship. It's losing a man whose very existence brings stability, direction, and purpose into her life. When you are a man who acts from principles rather than impulses, everything changes. You don't get hooked by mixed signals. You don't get thrown off by her mood swings. You don't break your routine just to get her attention. You stay loyal to your path. You stay committed to your mission. You stay disciplined with your mind. And ironically, that is when she becomes more drawn to you, not because you are playing games, but because you are anchored in something far deeper than desire. You are anchored in self-respect. Women don't fear losing the man who needs them. They fear losing the man who chooses them, but doesn't depend on them. The man who can walk away if he must. The man who values himself enough to let things fall apart rather than betray his principles. That man is rare. That man is powerful. That man is unforgettable because he brings something into her life that is becoming harder and harder to find in modern men. Emotional strength without arrogance, gentleness without weakness, stability without control, love without insecurity. And the truth is simple. When you work on yourself, your mindset, your discipline, your purpose, you become the man who naturally commands respect, loyalty, and admiration without ever raising your voice or begging for attention. You stop trying to prove your worth because you know your worth. And once you reach that level, she doesn't just want you, she fears losing you. Because men like that do not come twice. The man a woman fears losing the most is the one whose purpose speaks louder than his emotions. He has goals that extend far beyond the relationship. His energy is not scattered, it is focused. His days are structured around what he wants to build, not who he wants to impress. And because of that, his presence carries weight. He doesn't abandon his responsibilities just to soothe someone's temporary insecurity. He doesn't sacrifice his long-term vision to chase short-term comfort. His mission comes first, not out of selfishness, but out of understanding that a man without purpose becomes weak, reactive, and easily thrown off balance. And deep down, women know this. They know a man who loses his purpose eventually loses himself, and a man who loses himself becomes someone they cannot respect. A man with purpose is not unpredictable. He is intentional. When he says something, he means it. When he sets a boundary, he holds it. When he commits to improving himself, he follows through whether he feels motivated or not. That consistency creates a sense of security, not because he guarantees he will stay, but because he guarantees he will remain disciplined. And discipline is more attractive than any words or promises a man could ever make. Most men drift through life, pulled by distractions, addictions, and the need for constant approval. But a man with purpose moves differently. His decisions are rooted in direction, not desire. His time has value. His attention is earned. His presence feels like a privilege, not something to take for granted. This is the man she thinks about when he's not around. Not because he makes her insecure, but because he inspires her respect. She sees that he's building something meaningful, something bigger than himself. She knows he is the kind of man who could walk away today and still wake up tomorrow with fire in his eyes and a mission to pursue. That creates a powerful shift. She realizes she cannot distract him, she cannot control him, she cannot pull him away from the path he is meant to walk. And that realization creates admiration. And yes, fear. Not fear of him leaving out of anger, but fear of losing a man whose life is already moving forward with or without her. The man with purpose doesn't ask a woman to fill the emptiness inside him. He fills it through effort, discipline, and personal growth. He doesn't demand her support. He earns it by showing his direction. He doesn't collapse when life gets difficult. He sharpens himself. And because he becomes stronger through struggle, he becomes rare in a world full of men who crumble at the slightest challenge. Women fear losing this man because they know he won't be replaced easily. He cannot be guilt-tripped, manipulated, or distracted away from who he is becoming. He's not just living, he's evolving, and evolution is magnetic. A man who prioritizes his mission becomes the man everyone respects. And the man she quietly praised never walks away. The type of man a woman fears losing the most is the one who controls himself, even when the world pushes him to react. He does not allow anger, frustration, or disappointment to dictate his behavior. He understands that true strength lies not in dominating others, but in mastering oneself. While most men lash out when things don't go their way, he remains composed, measured, and deliberate. His calmness under pressure makes him rare and powerful. Women recognize this instantly. They see that he will not crumble under criticism, insult, or rejection. They sense that his internal world is stable, unwavering, and self-sufficient. That stability creates a magnetic presence that cannot be replaced by charm or flattery. A man who controls himself is not cold or detached. He is intentionally selective with his energy. He chooses his words carefully, his actions deliberately. He does not react to every provocation or let small irritations ruin his day. This ability to remain centered, to stay rational while others spiral, signals an inner strength that cannot be faked. Women fear losing this man because they realize that very few men possess this level of discipline. The world rewards impulsivity, drama, and emotional volatility, but a man who rises above the chaos stands out. He does not need validation because he already knows his worth. He does not compete for attention because he knows his presence is enough. That quiet confidence, grounded in self-mastery, is something a woman instinctively respects and fears losing. This man also knows the power of patience. He does not force outcomes or demand immediate satisfaction. He allows life to unfold and understands that control over oneself is far more important than control over others. In relationships, he does not panic when a woman tests him, withdraws, or acts distant. Instead, he maintains his composure, trusting that his value and integrity will naturally draw respect. Women sense this reliability. They know that when life becomes unpredictable, he will remain steady. They fear the possibility of losing someone who can maintain clarity and calm when the majority would falter. Self-control also extends to his desires and ambitions. He does not chase fleeting pleasures or compromise his principles for temporary gain. He invests his energy into personal growth, long-term goals, and meaningful connections. Women fear losing this type of man because they understand he cannot be replaced easily. His calmness under pressure, combined with his unwavering focus, makes him rare, magnetic, and unforgettable. The realization that such a man exists, one who cannot be swayed by trivialities, creates both admiration and a quiet sense of urgency. A woman may not fully understand why she respects and fears losing this man, but instinctively she knows. A man who masters himself, who chooses patience over reaction, and who remains steady when others falter, is a man she will never want to let go. The type of man a woman fears losing the most is also the one who demonstrates unwavering purpose in his life. He has clear goals, a vision for himself, and the discipline to pursue it relentlessly. This man does not drift aimlessly through life or allow circumstances to dictate his direction. He knows what he wants, and he acts with deliberate focus to achieve it. Women are drawn to this kind of clarity and determination because it signals strength, stability, and reliability. They sense that his life is structured around meaningful objectives rather than fleeting distractions. And that kind of intentionality is rare. The woman who recognizes this understands the losing such a man would mean losing not just a partner, but a presence that inspires, motivates, and elevates those around him. Purpose manifests in the choices he makes daily. He prioritizes growth, learning, and improvement over comfort and complacency. He invests in himself physically, mentally, and emotionally, constantly striving to become a better version of who he is. This commitment to self-mastery sets him apart from men who settle for mediocrity or allow life to sweep them along without direction. Women fear losing this because it is a reflection of something they instinctively crave, a partner who adds value to life, who challenges them to grow, and who demonstrates a level of self-respect that naturally commands theirs. The purposeful man is magnetic, not through flashy gestures or empty words, but through the consistency of his actions and the clarity of his intentions. Moreover, a man with purpose handles challenges differently. Obstacles do not derail him, they refine him. His focus on his long-term goals prevents him from being easily manipulated, distracted, or swayed by trivial matters. Women notice this strength. They realize that he is not just committed to himself, but that his life is designed to progress meaningfully, and they fear losing someone whose trajectory is upward, unstoppable, and unshakable. This awareness creates admiration, respect, and yes, a quiet fear because they understand the rarity of such unwavering dedication. Purpose also creates boundaries. He does not allow himself to be pulled into unnecessary drama, manipulations, or toxic situations. He protects his time and energy, understanding that they are finite resources to be spent wisely. Women sense this self-respect. They realize that attempting to control or challenge him is futile because he is guided by a higher principle, his vision for his own life, that independence, that refusal to compromise on his goals, makes him invaluable in a relationship. Losing a man like this means losing someone who is grounded, focused, and entirely in command of his life's direction. A woman may not articulate why such a man holds so much influence, but she feels it instinctively. His clarity of purpose, his discipline, and his refusal to be distracted by trivialities mark him as extraordinary. She knows that losing him would leave a void, a lack of inspiration and stability that cannot easily be replaced. This kind of purposeful presence is magnetic, transformative, and unforgettable. The type of man women fear losing the most is the one who remains calm and unshakable in every situation. He does not overreact, he does not chase validation, and he does not let emotions dictate his decisions. There is an inner peace about him, a quiet confidence that radiates stability and control. Women recognize this calm as strength because it signals that he is secure in himself, unthreatened by chaos, drama, or attempts to manipulate him. This composed demeanor draws them in because it offers a sense of safety. They know that no matter what happens, this man will not be swept away by external pressures, and losing such a presence is unnerving to them. Calmness in a man is not passive, it is intentional. He observes situations objectively and responds with thoughtfulness rather than impulsivity. This ability to remain steady under pressure sets him apart from men who react emotionally or act out of fear. Women instinctively sense this difference. When confronted with challenges, disagreements, or emotional tension, he maintains his poise. He does not yell, beg, or demand attention. Instead, he communicates clearly, acts decisively, and ensures that his actions align with his values. This steadiness inspires respect, admiration, and often quiet fear, so they understand that someone so self-controlled cannot be easily influenced or replaced. A calm man also has the remarkable ability to manage conflict without escalating it. He does not allow arguments or misunderstandings to spiral into chaos. Women fear losing him because they realize that such calmness creates harmony in life. He brings clarity where there is confusion, reason where there is chaos, and direction where there is uncertainty. His presence stabilizes not only himself but the environment around him. Losing this is losing someone who acts as a pillar of strength, someone who can navigate the storm without being consumed by it. This calmness is also deeply tied to emotional intelligence. He understands his feelings, acknowledges them, but does not let them overpower him. He perceives others' emotions, empathizes, and reacts with measured thoughtfulness. Women notice this emotional mastery. They see that he is not easily swayed by flattery, guilt, or manipulation. Losing a man who embodies his control means losing someone who can maintain equilibrium in a relationship, someone whose love, respect, and decisions are grounded in clarity rather than volatility. Moreover, this calmness reflects resilience. Life inevitably presents challenges, disappointments, and unexpected hardships. The unshakable man faces these trials with courage and composure. He does not crumble under pressure, nor does he abandon his principles for comfort or approval. Women recognize that this resilience is rare. They fear losing a man who can endure life's adversities with grace, someone who models strength without aggression, patience without passivity, and confidence without arrogance. In essence, the calm and unshakable man exudes a quiet power that commands respect and admiration. Losing him is not just losing a partner, it is losing a presence that anchors, inspires in you. Pliffs. His calmness is magnetic, transformative, and unforgettable. The type of man women fear losing the most is the one who walks away with dignity when his standards are crossed, not out of anger, not out of ego, and not to prove a point, but because he values his self-respect more than temporary affection. This man does not crumble when someone pulls away, disrespects him, or takes him for granted. Instead, he calmly withdraws, not as a reaction, but as a reflection of his principles. He understands something powerful. Letting go with grace is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of inner strength. Women fear losing this kind of man because he does not cling, negotiate his worth, or stay in situations that undermine his peace. He knows who he is, what he stands for, and what behavior is acceptable in his life. And that clarity creates a rare sense of stability. When a man has strong boundaries communicated through consistent actions rather than emotional outbursts, it sends a clear message: I will not be treated beneath the level I treat others. That quiet firmness is deeply attractive because it shows that his love is sincere but not blind. This man does not chase someone who is drifting away. Instead, he steps back and observes. He allows distance rather than forcing closeness. He knows that genuine connection never requires begging, convincing, or compromising his dignity. Women recognize that men like this are rare. Men who stay because they choose to, not because they can't be alone. Losing him means losing a partner who is strong enough to walk away, but wise enough to stay only when the relationship is built on mutual effort and respect. Walking away with dignity is also a reflection of emotional maturity. It shows that he does not respond to disrespect with anger or revenge. He simply removes himself from situations that do not nurture him. This ability to release what no longer aligns with his values demonstrates a level of confidence that cannot be faked. It creates a fear not rooted in insecurity, but in awareness. Awareness that once he leaves, he will not return to unhealthy dynamics. His departure is final because it is guided by principle, not impulse. Women fear losing this kind of man because they see the contrast. They see how other men might chase, plead, or settle for less just to maintain connection. But this man refuses to participate in emotional games or unhealthy cycles. He is willing to choose solitude over disrespect, peace over drama, and self-worth over temporary comfort. That level of strength demands respect, even from those who never expected to lose him. And the most powerful part? He doesn't walk away to punish anyone. He walks away to protect himself. There is no bitterness in his decision, only clarity. He understands that love is meaningful only when both people value and honor each other. Losing a man with this kind of dignity is losing someone who brings stability, strength, and emotional responsibility into a relationship. Someone who gives fully, but never at the cost of himself, And that quiet, unshakable self respect is exactly what makes him unforgettable.